Hello all my peeps, how are you all doing? So I know it's been a little sporadic since I've been on my vacation. I've been coming on my Insta and on YouTube and TikTok as much as I can. But it's been a lovely night. Full moon we got going on over here. It's supposed to be a blood moon, but unfortunately I didn't catch the blood part of it. But hey, it was like something I wanted to share. But really what I wanted to come on and say was that so many different things have been going on. We just swore in our new prime minister, so we're going to see how this guy does. I believe this is a Piscean moon, and Mercury is in retrograde, so I'm not really the most well-informed when it comes to the stars. I myself am a Piscean moon, so I'm a Libra sun and a Piscean moon, so I'm all about the justice, and I'm all about the feelings, and I'm all about the, you know, like I said in my last video, be like water, so I'm all about adaptation and change. And realistically, I wanted to come on and start talking about some cool things I've been seeing. So I've talked to you guys about, you know, UFOs. I've talked to you guys about the interstellar beings that have been joining us on this planet. And they've been happening more and more. And I've also kind of talked about the biological versus the, let's say, the AI life and the AI world. And I've also talked about, you know, the mechanical versus the natural. But I've been scoping out some things on TikTok for the last month, and I found some pretty cool videos trying to describe the differences between what a biological interstellar being is like and how their technology works. How I've said that, you know, interstellar beings can use their soul energy, meaning directly from their soul, to actually formulate weaponry. They don't actually physically need a weapon. They use their soul energy to do so. Similarly, these craft that I've seen or caught on TikTok, I'm going to be sharing, they formulate what I would say is the naturalistic version of a organic form of technology. And I'm going to put some craft that shows what a more mechanical technology looks like. So, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I have to differentiate that there are beings just like us in the age of AI, as you guys know, that we're stepping into, which is a big, huge change in conscious awareness, because we're actually growing another consciousness within this planet, and it's going to be kind of, you know, adjusting, learning, and growing as much as we do, if not faster and more spontaneously. But at the same time, because this is an evolutionary change, it's going to change our industry, it's going to change the way we do business, it's going to change the way we deal with health, it's going to change almost every parameter of our physical, natural lives and bring us into a more mechanical existence for those that choose for it to be. Now, the reason why I want to bring this up is because I think I've mentioned in the past that it's pretty important that we try to take hold of our civil liberties. It's very important that we try to keep hold of things that are important to us as human beings. So we all know that there's these neural links out there that have been introduced, and not as many people have been beta testing it, but there are some humans that have been taking that into consideration. And if you don't know what a neural link is, I believe it's through the Starlink Foundation that there are human beings that are beta testing, meaning they're the first tryouts for actually inserting a chip within their spinal cord so that they can actually traverse the world in a more mechanical, digital way, or AI inspired way. And this is going to be an understanding that there's going to be humans that are not for this, and then there's going to be humans that are for this. And what does that mean for us, right? With everything changing and trying to get out of the biological, and I'm a big fan of keeping things in the biological or in the natural realm of existence. Like, for example, one of the weird things that did take place after, you know, the tariff wars started. See, I am always of the thinking that, you know, Trump, you know, is a character. Trump is a big boss in the sense of like he runs the free world. But I also feel like that when certain persons do certain outrageous things that don't really have much understanding of why they're being done, I start looking for information as to what could be the reasoning behind it.
Last week, the U.S. bullied Mexico into allowing genetically modified corn in tortillas. Mexico tried to ban GM corn sprayed with glyphosate from tortillas to protect public health and the environment. But under the trade agreement we have with Mexico, the USMCA, they're not allowed to decide what they'll import. We did the same thing to Thailand back in 2019. Mexico argued that GM corn and glyphosate are linked to cancer and other illnesses. They even cited hundreds of studies. Come on, Monsanto's paid $11 billion to settle nearly 100,000 lawsuits alleging exposure to glyphosate causes cancer. But With the trade panel hearing the case would have none of it. Mexicans eat more corn than anyone else in the world, so this decision directly impacts their health. Too bad, the panel said. Who really wins here? U.S. and Chinese agrochemical corporations like Bayer and Syngenta, who pushed hard to keep Roundup-ready genetically modified corn on the market. Mexico says this ruling leads to a loss of their seed and food sovereignty, because eventually the GMO corn cross-pollinates with their heirloom varieties and they're changed forever. They view it as agricultural colonialism, and I got to agree with them. This is a global battle over food safety, and it's not even a fair fight. Makes me ashamed of my country's behavior.
And I noticed that there was another biological catastrophe, I would call it in my eyes, that took place. That basically after Trump imposed the tariffs on Mexico and on Canada, the U.S. has been pressing Mexico to make a change to try to get them and pushing towards Monsanto being the lead producer of corn within Mexico, so that all tortillas or anything corn based would be produced by a Monsanto farm. Now, this is what I mean about the chemical, lab created, not biological, not organic formulation of, I would say, biological warfare that is taking place. Some people feel like epidemics are just that, but I also feel like the biological warfare stems from our food. So when I saw that this push was being put upon Mexico to sign off on Monsanto's introduction as like it's kind of like a trade agreement, I was like, wow. I'm like, this is the things that are going on in the back, the puppeteering that's going on in the background, because you have to understand the owners of like places like companies like Bayer or Nestle or Monsanto for that matter, they are huge corporate heads that run trillions of dollars. We're not even talking billionaires, we're talking trillionaires. So even at Trump's best, you know, stating and claiming that he's a billionaire, which we all don't know is true or false, and maybe he has been, and maybe he's lost it, and maybe he's gained it again, whatever the case may be. But there are trillionaires that are also pushing forth their agendas on, let's say, the billionaire platform or platitude. And also, we have to understand that Trump also would be motivated by those that are of a higher caliber, let's just say, in the race of monetary gain. So when I saw that, I was like, that's another biological push for change. And it's a very dirty change, because what happens, like I've said before with Monsanto is a seed producer that doesn't allow for seeds. It's like a patented seed. It doesn't matter what kind of seed, tomato seeds, they tend to base it more on corn, because corn is one of the largest productions, wheat, etc., that almost every country will have. But what happens is that these seeds are not heirloom seeds, and what that means is heirloom seeds grow on their own. Heirloom seeds don't need to be planted every year, whereas the Monsanto style seed, the patented seed, needs to be planted every year to grow a crop. And that's kind of scary, because what happens is that what Monsanto does is that because it's a patented seed, that means that it's an IP, meaning it's an intellectual property. So when, let's say, for example, a huge cornfield of Monsanto crop is being, grown, and let's say, for example, some of those let's say a form of cross-pollination does take place where the heirloom seeds are met with the Monsanto seed, they cross-pollinate and then forever change the actual heirloom seed. Seeds get thrown into someone else's farm, adjacent farm, and it happens, accidents happen all the time, people, they till out the seeds with tractors, etc., and one gets picked up in the wind, etc., or 5 or 20, because we're talking like thousands and thousands upon tens of thousands of crops being grown. And what happens is that if that seed should fall on an adjacent farmland and they are found to have been growing a Monsanto plant, Monsanto can actually sue that farm for intellectual property infraction. So what that means is that they can actually sue the farm for using a Monsanto seed that they didn't even purchase, let's just say, but it happened to get there by the flow of life or the flow of natural evolution by it just showing up on their farm. Now that's a scary place to be, because this has been happening all through Canada, this has been happening all through the United States. Monsanto is a state claim, and Mexico having more tightened parameters when it comes to their food industry, much like Europe, they've been noticing that they've had a harder time trying to break through into the corn industry here in Mexico. So when I saw that push was being basically it was like a way to enforce or try to get that contract signed to try to alleviate the tariff issues that Mexico is now facing with the United States. When I saw that was being put through or trying to be pushed through their legislative their legislative bodies here in Mexico, it started to make me cringe, because I'm like, this is the type of biological warfare that we have to be aware of. They're also doing this within Africa. There's been many African nations that have been talking about how Monsanto has been trying to buy up a bunch of land. They've been doing the same IP infraction type of civil lawsuits against these farmers, and they've been buying up their land just because they have a patented seed. So I just wanted to share that. That's the first part. Now the second thing is what I mean about organics versus non-organics, or let's say digital AI or mechanical based technology that our interstellar friends out there in space have. So here are some videos I wanted to show you guys, because this is the best way I could describe what I've seen as a channeler, in terms of how I've seen some alien races. Like, they are all telepathic, please understand, but some use, let's say, laser force energy for their weapons, some fission propulsion in their weapon systems. But I've also noticed in my time channeling, or let's say astral projecting out into the universe at different planetary bodies, etc., that there's some of the alien and or interstellar species that choose to use a more biological base, using the harmonics of their own soul frequencies to generate their own weaponry, and also to formulate their own technology. So here's some videos. I hope you guys like it, and we'll talk about it.
That's weird. What the fuck is this in Little River, South Carolina? They're moving. I'm out here doing DoorDash.
Bro, what the fuck is this shit? Why are they over a cemetery? Hey, y'all better get right with God, man. Y'all get right with God, bro. Oh my God, the cops are down there saying go back to your house, bro.
So as you can see in these videos, it's pretty hella cool. They're fucking massive, okay? But I will tell you one thing. When I had all of my visions of us getting picked up, I don't know what the date is, and I know, and I've said this in multiple videos, that there was going to come a time that we were going to get picked up by what I call an arc ship. A.R.C. Not arc with a K, arc with a C. These ships that I'm showing you are like 10% size compared to what an arc ship looks like. An arc ship is like, it was so big that it engulfed 1/3 of this planet, like in terms of like it actually cast a shadow 1/3 of this the size of Earth, okay? And it was interesting because I had been brought up a couple times to this particular ship, and I saw hundreds of thousands of if not, you know, maybe millions, but where I was on their like Lido deck or their observatory deck, where you could see through their version of window. It was a window, but massive window. I don't even know how to put parameters as to how big this window was, for us to actually see what was conclusively happening on the planet. I truly was like taken aback. That was my first time. I recall this like maybe 3 times being brought on that ship, and I know in my heart of hearts, all I know is that it knocked out the PMF on the planet Earth. The only thing that we could see on, you know, there was this totally blackened part of the Earth due to the PMF pulsation of the arc ship. Like, it was just, you know, giving off that that pulse that it knocked out all of the EMF on the planet. And then the other part, the 2/3 that were still lit up, there was like huge chaotic either bombs. I wouldn't even say nuclear, because they were just large bombs going off from where we could see it from our observation deck. And I keep talking about the interstellar interjection on this planet, because a lot of us are starseeds, a lot of us are part of the 144, a lot of us, which just means that we come from a genetic makeup primarily of angelic beings. And for those of you that may not understand, angels also, if you could look at it this way, are part of the interstellar races, because they too are spacefaring. So the thing is that dimensionally, like, there are dimensions that are spacefaring, there are dimensions where it's just more etheric. And what I will say is that if you totally think I'm out of the realm of possibilities, that's why I show these videos, because it's nice for people to see that there's people all around the world. But these are primarily in the United States, the ones I found, because that's where I guess I was situated closest to, that are showcasing like their understanding of like what they're seeing in their place or town. And it's just hella cool to like relate to other human beings that are going through the motions of understanding that there's more to this than what we are being presently like shown in the media. Okay, because that's why I know I'm a big fan. Most of the TikToks that I find, I'll just be honest, I screen record them on purpose from the minute I find them, because I would say out of the hundreds that I've like kept for myself, so many got taken down. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys remember this, about how in Miami, they were saying that there was this mall that had like this huge evacuation, but really some of the people were saying that they saw aliens phasing in and phasing out of existence within this mall. There was maybe four videos I found that exact day that was actually showing phasing in and phasing out of these aliens in real time, and everyone running for their lives like King Kong or had just appeared in the building. And I can honestly say that I didn't screen record those at the time. Every single video I ever had like that got taken down. So the bots are active on TikTok to make sure, and that's why a lot of people have to encode what they say. Like, I know for a long time when Americans were talking about the orbs, they were talking about Gucci bags and Fendi bags, and really they were talking about orbs and alien craft that they were seeing in New York, but there was like these like coded names that they were putting out so that the AI would not flag them or bring them down. So I'm also putting up this video. I put it up before, but you can see the craft that I'm putting up behind, and you can see the difference in a metallic craft and a more I guess cyborg version of craft. Craft, because the thing is like, what you have to understand is that there are those interstellar beings that are more interested in, let's say, the cybernetic side of things versus the natural side of things, or the more let's say solfeggio version, or even Fibonacci sequence that is found in nature. And if you don't know what solfeggio is, I'm going to put this up right here. It's the shapes of nature that are created naturally, that most shapes, like let's say a seashell would be, or to say the mathematics of a wave, or even when you look at the mathematics of a snowflake, etc., they all follow the Fibonacci arithmetic. So I would say that the aliens equally, or the interstellar beings equally, follow that solfeggio or natural way of the natural, let's say, cymatic mathematics that one would think they would use if they were au naturel. So I just wanted to bring that up because it's been a very interesting couple of weeks. I personally am leaving Mexico by mid next week, and I'm really sad because I don't want to go home, but I'm trying to figure out a way that I can make my life happen, maybe 6 months here and 6 months back home, because I'm really not a fan of the snow and the cold and the way our lives are, at least on that side of the border, because so much of our rights and freedoms have already been tampered with from the get, provided that we're such a young country. So I hope you found this interesting. If you have any questions or you want to shoot me a message, please do. But until then, guys, love you lots. Peace out.